There's a question that many people on the spiritual path quietly ask themselves at night when all the noise dies down: why am I still stuck? You've read the books, burned the sage, listened to the affirmations, tried the meditations. You've even had moments where you felt something shift, a flash of clarity, a wave of peace, a moment of connection so deep it made you cry. But then, just as quickly as it came, it faded. And now, you're back where you started, tired, frustrated, wondering why your vibration isn't rising the way it's supposed to, why you still feel heavy, why you're still attracting confusion, fear, and cycles that repeat like karmic echo chambers. If that's you, this is the moment everything changes. Because today, we're going to expose the 7 reasons your vibration isn't rising and how to fix each of them fast. Let's start with something radical. Your vibration isn't stuck because you're broken. It's stuck because you're carrying things that aren't yours. You've been trying to ascend with a backpack full of emotional bricks. Old shame, unprocessed fear, inherited trauma, and societal programming that's been whispering in your ear since you were a child, telling you who to be, how to act, and what to suppress. That weight? That's your first block, the heaviest one. Most people don't even realize they're lugging it around because it feels normal. It feels like me. But what if I told you that half of what you call your personality is actually just a defense mechanism? A survival identity built to protect you from pain, rejection, and abandonment. You see, raising your vibration isn't about adding light. It's about removing density. You don't have to force yourself higher. You just have to stop clinging to what's holding you down. And one of the biggest things holding you down is unresolved emotion. Not just the dramatic traumas, but the little moments, the micro-rejections. The times you didn't speak your truth. The times you betrayed your own intuition just to be accepted. Those moments didn't disappear. They stored themselves in your body, your nervous system, your energetic field. And now they're vibrating at a frequency far lower than what your soul is trying to embody. That's why you feel the inner conflict. That's why your energy feels stuck. So the real question is, are you willing to feel what you've been avoiding? The second reason your vibration isn't rising is because you're consuming energy that's not compatible with where you're trying to go. And I'm not just talking about food, although that matters too. I'm talking about information, media, music, conversations, social media scrolls. Every single thing you take in carries a frequency. And most of it is designed to keep you addicted, distracted, and disconnected. You can't binge fear-based news, toxic gossip, and escapist entertainment every day and expect to vibrate like a mystic. You're sabotaging your own field. And the crazy part is, you know it. There's a part of you that flinches every time you scroll past another negative post or listen to someone complain for 20 minutes straight. But you keep doing it. Why? Because your nervous system is addicted to chaos. And until you reset that baseline, you'll keep feeding the very energy that's keeping you low.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
The third block is subtle but deadly. It's the silent killer of spiritual growth, self-judgment. You judge yourself for not being high vibe enough. You judge your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions. You shame yourself for being triggered. You compare your journey to others and decide you must be behind. But judgment is a contraction of energy. It tightens your field. It shuts down your heart. And it locks you in a loop where you're constantly trying to fix yourself instead of love yourself. The truth is, you don't raise your vibration by becoming perfect. You raise it by becoming authentic. By meeting every part of yourself with compassion. Even the messy parts, especially the messy parts. Because those are the ones holding the keys to your liberation. Let me ask you this, what part of you have you been trying to hide from the world? What part of you makes you feel unworthy of love, of success, of peace? That part doesn't need to be exiled. It needs to be integrated. And that's the fourth reason your vibration isn't rising. You're still living in fragments. You've separated your spiritual self from your human self. You meditate in the morning, then betray your truth all day. You talk about alignment, but you say yes when you mean no. You speak love, but think fear. And that dissonance, that's energetic leakage. You can't rise if you're split. Wholeness is the goal. Integration is the path. And that means bringing your shadow into the light, not to destroy it, but to understand it. Because your shadow isn't the enemy. It's the part of you that took the wounds so your light could survive. The fifth reason. You've been outsourcing your power. You've been waiting for someone to save you, a guru, a healer, a partner, a sign from the universe. You've been giving away your authority without realizing that no one is coming to do the inner work for you. Not me. Not your favorite spiritual teacher. Not even your guides. This is your initiation, your path, your responsibility. And until you reclaim your sovereignty, your energy will stay scattered, fragmented, disempowered. It's time to take your power back, not with ego, but with presence, with radical ownership, with the knowing that you are the healer you've been waiting for. And now we've only just begun to peel back the layers. There are more reasons your vibration hasn't been rising, and more importantly, there are ways to shift it fast. Not gimmicks, not quick fixes, but real, embodied tools that you can start using today to clear your field, align your energy, and finally feel that upward spiral your soul has been craving. So I'll leave you with this question. What are you still holding on to that your higher self has already outgrown? That answer might be the very reason your vibration hasn't risen. And the moment you're willing to let it go, everything changes. In the next part, we're going to reveal the energetic traps you don't even realize you've fallen into and how to escape them with clarity, precision, and spiritual fire. Most of us imagine that the enemy of our spiritual growth is something obvious: trauma, toxic people, or emotional breakdowns. But the truth is far more subtle and far more dangerous. The real sabotage doesn't come from the dramatic moments. It comes from the invisible traps we walk into every single day without realizing it. These traps don't scream, they whisper. They don't announce themselves, they slip into your energy field and nest there, quietly lowering your vibration while you go about your day thinking everything is fine. And if you're not aware, they'll keep you stuck in a loop of spiritual stagnation, no matter how many mantras you chant or meditations you do. Let's start with one of the most deceptive traps: emotional avoidance disguised as positivity. We've been conditioned to believe that high vibration means always being happy, always being calm, always being peaceful. But that's a lie. Real vibrational elevation isn't about suppressing emotion, it's about feeling it fully. When you slap a smile over sadness or repeat affirmations while your heart is breaking, you're not raising your frequency, you're creating a split. That split becomes a vibrational leak. The lower emotions don't go away just because you deny them. They go underground. They start showing up in your body, your relationships, your thoughts, and then you wonder why you feel off. Why your manifestations aren't landing, why your intuition feels blocked. It's because the energy you've buried is still vibrating inside you, quietly dragging your frequency down. So let me ask you something deep. When was the last time you let yourself fully feel? Not fix, not analyze, just feel. Without judgment, without trying to escape. Because the moment you stop running from your emotions is the moment your vibration begins to rise naturally. Feeling is the gateway. Suppression is the trap. Another invisible trap: energetic entanglement through unconscious agreements. You're not just carrying your own energy, you're carrying the energy of everyone you've ever made a silent contract with. The friend you always rescue. The parent you're still trying to please, the partner you're energetically tethered to, even though the relationship ended years ago. These cords are real. They don't just exist in memory, they live in your field. And as long as you're carrying those cords, you can't fully rise. Your energy is being siphoned by the past. You're living in multiple timelines at once, and it's exhausting. You've got to cut the cords not with anger, but with clarity, with sovereignty, with love, not because you hate them, but because you love yourself enough to stop bleeding energy into people, patterns, and promises that no longer align with your soul's evolution. This is hard, because part of you feels guilty. You're afraid of what will happen if you let go. But here's the truth. If something is meant for you, it won't require you to stay small to keep it. Anything that demands your disempowerment is not part of your highest path. The third trap is over-identification with your spiritual identity. Yes, this one's going to sting, because some of us have built a whole new ego around being high-vibe conscious or awake. And while awakening is a beautiful thing, it's also dangerous if it becomes another mask. If you're clinging to crystals, talking about the universe, and giving advice on Instagram, but you're still afraid to look at your own shadow, you haven't transcended anything. You've just rebranded your ego. And that kind of ego is even harder to dismantle, because it hides behind spiritual language and good intentions. Your vibration doesn't rise because you look spiritual. It rises because you live in truth. Sometimes that means being raw. Sometimes that means being wrong. Sometimes that means admitting you don't know, you're scared, or you're still healing. Humility is high frequency. Authenticity is high frequency. Pretending to have it all figured out. That's static. That's noise. That's a trap. Then there's the trap of energetic inconsistency. You meditate in the morning, but the rest of your day is chaos. You say you're manifesting love, but you settle for half-hearted connection. You speak about abundance, but your daily habits reflect scarcity. And the universe doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to your field. Your vibration isn't defined by your rituals, it's defined by your rhythm. The rhythm of your choices. The rhythm of your thoughts when no one's watching. The rhythm of how you treat yourself when you fail. Are you consistent in your alignment, or do you only access your higher self when it's convenient? And finally, perhaps the most invisible trap of all is resistance to the present moment. You're waiting for something, waiting for the perfect partner, the perfect job, the perfect sign to finally feel whole. You're living in a state of almost there, but here's the secret. Nothing external will ever raise your vibration permanently, because the vibration you seek is not in the future. It's in the now, right here, even with the mess, even with the pain, even with the unknown. The more you resist what is, the more you lower your frequency. Real presence is the foundation of all spiritual power, and the only way to access it is to stop running. So now I ask you, where are you still waiting to live? What part of you is still saying, I'll feel peace when, because whatever comes after that when is the very thing keeping you from your power? In the next part, we're going to break open the core energetic patterns that sabotage your frequency from within and how to rewire them in real time so you can finally rise effortlessly and permanently. If your vibration hasn't been rising, it's not because you're not spiritual enough. It's not because you're not trying hard enough. It's because your inner energy field is wired to maintain a certain frequency, and that frequency is based on patterns that have been running consciously or unconsciously for years, sometimes lifetimes. The truth is, energy doesn't lie. You can't fake your field. You might say the right affirmations, act like everything's fine, or even achieve temporary peaks, but if your foundational frequency is still tuned to fear, scarcity, or unworthiness, you'll always snap back to that baseline. Just like a thermostat set at 68 degrees, no matter how high you crank the heat, the system will adjust itself back to its default. This is why your vibration doesn't rise and stay there, because your inner programming pulls you back down. But what if you could change the set point? This is the frequency formula. Awareness plus choice plus embodiment equals energetic rewiring. It sounds simple, but each step demands a level of honesty and presence most people avoid. And that's why they stay in cycles. The first layer, awareness, is the most powerful and the most uncomfortable. You have to get radically honest about what your current frequency is broadcasting. Not what you want to believe, but what your life is actually reflecting. Look at your relationships, your finances, your health, your emotions. These aren't random. They are mirrors of your energy. If you keep attracting unavailable partners, there's an unresolved wound around worth. If money constantly slips through your fingers, there's a frequency of lack running in the background. If your body feels heavy or sick, there's emotional energy that hasn't been metabolized. None of this is punishment. It's feedback. Your life is showing you your vibration. Are you willing to listen? Next comes choice. Once you see the pattern, you must decide to shift it. And this is where most people get stuck. Because even when we realize we're vibrating at a frequency that doesn't serve us, we often stay there because it's familiar. Your nervous system gets addicted to the chemical cocktail of your oldest emotions. If you've lived in anxiety for 10 years, calm will actually feel boring. If you've built your identity around struggle, ease will feel suspicious. So to raise your vibration, you have to choose the unfamiliar. You have to say yes to the new frequency before it feels normal. You have to act like abundance is your truth before your bank account confirms it. You have to walk like love is your core vibration before anyone else validates it. Frequency shifts happen the moment you stop waiting for external proof and start living from internal truth. But choice alone isn't enough. You must embody the new frequency. This is where most spiritual seekers fall off. They make the realization, they make the decision, but they don't make the shift in their body. Real vibrational transformation happens at the cellular level. You can't just think your way into a higher vibration. You have to become it. That means regulating your nervous system so your body stops reverting to its trauma state. That means practicing emotional alchemy, feeling your emotions so fully that they transmute into higher energy. That means aligning your actions with your new frequency every single day, especially when it's hard. You don't become high vibe by avoiding your shadow. You become high vibe by meeting your shadow with so much presence, it dissolves. So what does this look like in real time? Imagine you've been vibrating at a frequency of "I'm not good enough." That frequency has built a life around it. Relationships where you're not seen, jobs where you're undervalued, a constant inner critic narrating your every move. One day, you become aware of the pattern. You realize this feeling of inadequacy isn't mine, it was programmed into me. That's step one. Then you make a choice. I choose to believe I am worthy. I choose to embody the frequency of enoughness. That's step two. Now comes step three, embodiment. So the next time someone disrespects you, you no longer stay silent, you speak your truth. When your mind spirals into self-doubt, you pause, breathe, and remember your new identity. You move your body, change your posture, affirm with your entire being, I am enough. You don't just think it, you live it. You dress like it, walk like it, rest like it, and over time your frequency rewires. The field around you shifts. Life begins to respond. That's the formula. It's not magic, it's mastery. And here's the beautiful part. Once you shift your frequency, you start attracting experiences that match your new vibration. This is where manifestation becomes effortless. Not because you're trying to control outcomes, but because you become a vibrational match for what you desire. You don't have to chase. You don't have to beg. You attract. Because the outer world is just a reflection of your inner field. Now ask yourself this. What frequency have I been unconsciously holding, and what new frequency am I finally ready to live in? The real work begins when you stop being a prisoner of your past patterns and start becoming the architect of your energetic reality. In the final part, we'll take this even deeper into the quantum layer of vibration. We'll explore how to collapse timelines, access higher dimensions of consciousness, and maintain your new vibration in a world that keeps trying to pull you back down. There comes a moment on the spiritual path when you realize that raising your vibration isn't just about healing, it's about collapsing the version of you that no longer exists. This is the quantum shift. It's not linear. It's not gradual. It's instantaneous. The moment you fully embody a new frequency, the old timeline dies, not metaphorically, energetically. It ceases to exist in the field of infinite possibilities. But most people don't experience this because they keep revisiting their old self, out of habit, fear, or comfort. They raise their vibration temporarily, but then return to familiar pain loops because they haven't closed the energetic doorway. If you want to lock in your new vibration, you must stop negotiating with your past. In the quantum field, all possibilities exist simultaneously. There's a version of you that is already healed, already abundant, already embodied in love. That version isn't in the future, it's in a parallel timeline, waiting for you to match its frequency. You don't reach it by striving. You access it by aligning. And alignment happens when your thoughts, emotions, actions, and energy are all saying the same thing. The moment you stop acting like your past self, speaking like your past self, thinking like your past self, you quantum leap. But if you keep dipping into old stories, even just mentally, you're energetically keeping that timeline alive. You're feeding the very reality you're trying to escape. So how do you collapse an old timeline? First, you must decide it's over, not wish. Not hope. Decide. Declare it with your entire being. I no longer identify with the version of me who tolerates pain for love. I no longer live in scarcity or self-doubt. That reality is no longer mine. Say it out loud. Write it down. Feel it vibrate through your body. Then act like it's done. When thoughts from the old timeline arise, and they will, you don't argue with them. You don't debate them. You simply say, "That's not who I am anymore." And then you redirect your focus toward the frequency of the new you. This is not bypassing. This is mastery. There's no need to keep digging through the past for healing once you've extracted the lesson. At some point, you must stop excavating and start embodying. The new timeline can't land if your energy is still entangled in analyzing the old one. Healing becomes integration. Integration becomes being. Being becomes magnetism. The version of you that vibrates in truth, peace, and power doesn't need to fix itself, it just lives. It is. And here's the key. The quantum field responds to certainty. Not desperation, not wishful thinking. Certainty. Certainty is the most magnetic frequency there is. When you move with certainty, the universe mirrors that back. Doors open. Synchronicities multiply. People shift around you. Reality bends. But when you doubt, hesitate, or ask, "Is this really working?" you wobble. You weaken the field. You slow the shift. So stop asking if you're doing it right. Start being the version of you who already knows. Now, let's be honest. The world won't always support your new vibration. You'll be tested. People will try to pull you back into their expectations of who you were. Life will present echoes of the old timeline. But here's your power. You don't respond the same way. You pause, you breathe, you remember, and you choose differently, again and again, until the old version no longer even feels real. Because it isn't. You've outgrown it. You've quantum shifted. So I leave you with this question. If the highest version of you was already here, how would you speak, move, love, give, and live? Your answer is your instruction. Follow it not just once, but over and over, until it becomes your new baseline, until it becomes your new reality. Because it already is. You're not becoming anything. You're remembering everything. Welcome to your new timeline.